What's up guys, your favorite Player One Richard here, out doing another bourbon hunt. This time I'm in Lakeland, Tennessee, visiting Lake District Wine and Liquor. Now I don't have a particular bottle that I am looking forward to today, but you never know, we might find something great and have to pick it up. So let's go inside and take a look. Here we go. One of the things that you'll first notice when you enter their whiskey section is their vast array of store picks. Starting over here with this Elijah Craig. Now if I remember, yes, this is a 10-year barrel proof bottle. It is coming in at 122 proof and has a price tag of $89.99. Now next to it is one of my favorites, is that Old Dominick straight wheat whiskey. This is one of the higher proofs that I've seen, 129.32. 7 years, and it's at $60. That is a heck of a price for a lot of proof on a bottle. I love a good Old Forester. This is another high proof, just close to hazmat, 136.5 proof, and on par with prices you'll find elsewhere, $99.99. I do have a toasted barrel, Elijah Craig, 8-year, 127.6 proof, so slightly younger age statement, but a little bit higher proof point on this one for $99.99. I don't think I've seen an Ezra Brooks cast strength before. This is coming in at 120 for $54.99. I don't see an age statement on here. It says barrel filled of 2017, but $51.99. Of course, they have other things such as Knob Creek, your 1792, and your Rebel cast strength. Some more store picks. This Russell's Private Barrel Select coming in at 110 proof. 9-year age statement for $79.99. I've had a Russell's Reserve Private Barrel, not from this store, but those are pretty good. Now, something worth pointing out are these maker marks. I am not a big Makers fan, but they have 3 different selections here. If you know anything about them, Makers, they use a variety of different staves in order to get you the profile that you want. This one is their Toasted Marshmallow, coming in at 108.1 proof. Right next to it, they have Spiced Honey, 109.1, and then last but not least is their chocolate cherry cordial, coming in at 110.1. And of course, all of these are going to be $74.99. Now they do have some banger single barrel Jack Daniels. This one right here is just the Tennessee whiskey, coming in at 130.6 proof. I've had one of similar proof point and it drinks a lot lower than that. And then of course they have a rye, 136.7. Similar situation. I've had one that was that high proof point, and of course it doesn't drink like that. So not the Coy Hill Barrel House, it's Barrel House 2-02. I think Coy Hill is like right around the 104 to 113, something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but both of these come in at $69.99. Now we're not going to look at all of the whiskey, but I am going to highlight some things as we go along. Now, most stores that I've been to only have one Frank August. This store seems to have 2. This one is called Case Study number 6. Let's see, Legacy Reserve 6-barrel batch, an 8, 9, and 10-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. It has a proof point of 109.24 and is $129.99. Now its neighbor is just the small batch of their straight bourbon whiskey. I believe that Fred Minnick named this as one of his favorites on the 2025 year, maybe it was 2024. Now this is a bottle that I'm interested in. It is Hancock's President's Reserve Single Barrel. Now it has a low proof point, 88.9 for 150. Don't know much about it. I actually came across these at another store in the area last year for probably at half that price. So don't know if that's something I need to be picking up. Hoot and Young, this is their 12-year, $69.99 for 92 proof, and then 15-year, 125 proof for $120. Now, if you're looking for Widow Jane, they certainly have the selection here. This is one that I'm definitely intrigued by. I love a finish whiskey, especially one that's finished in maple syrup barrels. This one comes in at 91 proof for $99.99. Lucky 13, 13-year, and then there's 15-year for $250. I've had the Baby Jane before. It has a distinct, I don't want to say funk, but I enjoy it. My bottle is probably half empty. This is pretty much on par with what I paid for mine. Soft red wheat rickhouse proof. I have one at the house that is older than this. I haven't cracked open before, but it is definitely a bottle worth getting. $70 for that one. Another bottle that has a really cool decanter that reminds me of just like an old style whiskey is this Belfour rye whiskey, 94 proof for $70. Moving right along, we have a lot of Penelope. There's that rosé cask at 110 that we saw at the other store by the Delta Boys. I believe their standard rosé is I think 94 proof. Starting to see these more. I have not seen them sitting on shelves though. Normally they're something that's behind the counter. It's American light whiskey, 18 years, and just over hazmat at 140.2. I'm starting to see more of that American light whiskey coming into the area. Larrikin is one as well. F Cancer, we have several of their toasted finishes. So the just straight toasted bourbon and then the toasted rye. If you are a longtime fan of the channel, then you know that I love these. This is my number one. Right behind that would be that red label, and then I'm not a fan of the peach. Directly below it is probably the largest selection of dark arts that I've seen in our area. Starting with their, let's see here, they're finished in Mizorana. Forgive me for being illiterate. For $60. They're straight bourbon cask strength for $84.99. Their rye, this is coming in at 108 for $89.99. This one is finished in, I'm not even going to attempt that. That is 108 proof for $84.99. Oloroso Sherry wine cask for $109.99. Here we go. Finished in maple syrup and toasted amberana. So that's probably sweetness. I bet you that's probably like cinnamon toast crunch in a bottle. $109.99, 110.74 proof. That's pretty good. I think something like a short barrel would cost you a little bit more than that. And then lastly, their double oak rye for $134.99. Now I've seen Ingram before. Never have I seen this one though. Noble Oak. I don't know if that's the same company or not. Rye whiskey finished with port wine oak staves. Nope, apparently they have their own distillate. This is out of distilled in Indiana, bottled by Noble Oak Spirits. So this is whiskey that is sourced and then bottled under another name. Ingram River Aged. $84.99, batch number 5, flagship, 116.5 proof. What does that say? Aged on the Mississippi and chosen for an extraordinary character, each vintage of flagship embodies our commitment to produce outstanding bourbon whiskey. So that's kind of cool. I know that there are several companies like Jefferson's that will do whiskey that is aged on a ship or a boat. Moving right along this way, there's some Yellowstone. I have never had Yellowstone before. Oh, but these are some definitely interesting bottles. They have their 108 proof American single malt, so a relatively newer category, for $51.99. That seems like a good price. Rum cask, I love a good rum cask, 100 proof for $51.99. A toasted, same price point, and then for $39.99, just their standard offering of their bourbon. So starting to see this pop back up some more. That 101 8-year, $42.99. If you remember the last store that we were in, they only had one bottle, and I think it was like $10 or $15 more, and they had it behind a counter. Here they have about 8 of those. So if you haven't got them yet, it's supposed to be a shelfer, but they have them here at Lake District. Elvis whiskey, you know we're famous for Elvis here in Memphis, but this one is intriguing. Elvis had a favorite sandwich, peanut butter, banana, and bacon. And so they've definitely tried to replicate that here in this particular whiskey. $26.99 for a bottle if you are interested in just something a little bit different and is related to Memphis. Now, I'm not trying to hit on all of the whiskeys. As you can see, there's quite the selection here. Really just trying to highlight some of the cooler things. But as I'm panning, if you see anything that maybe I should come back to next time I visit and hit on, certainly leave that down in the comments. New Riff is one that I'm hearing more about. I'm intrigued by this one, but this is their winter whiskey. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey made with malted oat and chocolate malt. Bottled in bond, which the day that I'm filming right now is actually bottled in bond day. And this is sitting at $64.99. Now moving right along, St. Cloud. I've not heard of this before either. $54.99 for this Mosaic small batch. And then its neighbor for its Festivus 4 for $94.99. Kentucky Owl, Takumi edition for $230. Intrigued by this. Let's see, anything cool or other information on this bottle? No. They have Joseph Magnus, same price points that you're going to see elsewhere. Blood Oath. Now this is, I believe, number 11. I'm going to try to raise this up and hopefully not break anything. Pack number 11, which is the 2025 edition. Let's see, 98.6 proof, $200. They have 3 on the shelf that I can see. Something I've never seen before is a Jim Beam single barrel, 108 proof, unfiltered, for $38.99. There seems to be 4 of these left, so if this is something that you are interested in, come and grab one. Short barrel is starting to pop up everywhere in this area. I've even heard rumor of some places getting a barrel pick of bee's knees, so that's pretty cool. I really enjoy their whiskey. I don't care for their price points on some of their higher end items such as bee's knees or after swarm, but they are very delicious. I just wish they could come down. Maybe once they start mass producing more, we'll start seeing a price difference. More Heaven Hill grain to glass, $130 for the 2025 edition of the green, red, and blue labels. They do have some of the blue and green of the 2024 Well, I guess these are different because this also says released in 2025. This is 2024. These are definitely not something in my budget, so I don't really pay too much attention to them. As I mentioned before, they have quite the selection here. We're going to skip over some of it just so we can get to the more exciting items that they have here. Here's that Leaper's fork again, and then that M-Town Brown for $94.99. More Nelson Brothers. This must be the Tennessee wall because there's Jack Daniels beside it. And then, of course, we have Nelson Brothers, a variety of different casks. These are actually probably some of the cheaper prices. I think usually I see around like $95 for these, but this is certainly one that I am intrigued by. Uncle Nearest, still in the news, not for good reasons. I've shared my opinions about them, so hopefully they can get their ship righted. Jephthah Creed is one that I was actually wanting to stop into. Nope. Jephthah Creed is a distillery that we passed when my wife and I took a trip to Kentucky. Had never heard of it before. Now I'm kind of kicking myself for not going, but I've never seen one of these before. This is their single barrel reserve, column stilled with thumper. It appears to be another pick, toasted char 3, coming in at 114.77 proof, selected by the Memphis Empire team. $79.99. I'd be interested to know what that tastes like. Now, I've featured Redemption before. Still don't really know much about them, but this is intriguing to me. Their rum cask, $49.99, 94 proof. To me, that seems like an excellent proof point for that price. Interesting that this is a smaller bottle versus that larger bottle. I would imagine that the volume is the same, just maybe the neck is different. You don't see that very often. Last video, I also mentioned that we have Henry McKenna here, normally an allocated bottle. As you can see, that there's about 6 or 8 of these that are here. $69.99 for those bottles. So starting to see more and more items like that, even though they're allocated, more readily available. For those of you that are Larceny fans, they do have C20, 924, 125.1 proof for $67.99. Let's see if they have any of the Sazerac full proof. Nope. Knob Creek, we did a video about them a while ago, but one thing that's kind of interesting that you don't see too often in our area is going to be this 12-year bourbon, $85.99, 100 proof. Now, I do have a video that I am going to be doing a side-by-side with the 7-year rye, which is over here, but this is a 10-year rye coming in at 100 proof. Looks like their store pick, their Knob Creek, is cast strength, 126.7, $55.99. That's a heck of a price for that particular bottle. I guess I've really not paid too much attention, but a lot of stores seem to have Old Elk. We did see this in another store, the last store that we were in. I believe the price point was just a little bit less, but that 8-year wheated bourbon. So they do have their 4-grain mash bill, double wheat. Betcha that's interesting. What does double wheat look like? 71.5% wheat, 25% corn, and 3.5% malted barley. That is very intriguing. I wonder what that tastes like. 107.5 proof, and then their wheat and rye. What is that mash bill? 57.6% wheat, 38% rye, 4.4% barley. And then they have their 2 different whiskeys that are in here. They're wheated and they're rye. All of these are $108.99. I don't know, is that a good price? I don't know much about Old Elk. Now, one thing that I did see here, is more of these single barrel 4 roses, OBSF and OESK. Both of those for $42.99 here at Lakeland. If you've been following me on Instagram, then you know that I am an ambassador for Pursuit United. Now our newer bottles actually look different than this. They actually have the word Pursuit over the top, different topper, just longer, slightly slender bottle. So with that being said, also our newer whiskey comes in at 88 proof. So they no longer have that 108 proof point on their just regular bourbon and rye. We do still carry that 108 proof point of our double oak. However, it's in a slightly different looking bottle. I really enjoyed that one. Lots of butterscotch on that. And then you get a little bit of that wood tannin, just really smooth, easy drinker if you enjoy double oak. Green River, and I think this is the one that everybody's been talking about, that foolproof weeded. That's 109.3 proof, $50.99. Getting ready to celebrate the 250th year as a country. So Green River has their 250th U.S. Army bottle still available. Same price point as that foolproof weeded, $50.99. Starting to see 3 chords pop up in some other stores. They have a variety of different types. I believe those are just blended whiskeys. I'll have to do some more research, but I'm not quite sure. Lux Row, double single barrel, 4-grain mash bill. Let's see if it says the proof point on here. I don't see it, but it doesn't mean that it's not on there. 115. There we go. $4.99.99. And of course, my favorite area where we represent local whiskey. Old Dominick, Bottled in Bond, Tennessee whiskey. Blue Note, just got to go to an event there. They have some really cool things that'll be coming out soon. George Dickel, told you my funny story about my son. There, they have a hand-selected barrel. This is 9 years, 103 proof, $44.99. This is charred, mellowed, and double distilled. Another barrel selected, 86 proof for $45.99. Just when I thought I was done, I did find a couple of other things. This is rye whiskey, cask strength, toasted finish. It's 121. Their Lake District pick for $76.99. This one is one that I'm intrigued. Cask strength cognac cask finished, 121.2 proof. This looks like it was bottled for whatever this Tennessee organization is for $76.99. So not a whiskey, but something that definitely caught my eye. I enjoy spicy things, so Absolute Tabasco, $19.99. It should just be good in like a Bloody Mary or something like that. Although it may look sparse today, you can bet that during allocation season, this shelf is just brimming with anything and everything that you would want. Want something from the Weller lineup? Chances are this store has it. Stag Junior, Jack Daniel's 10, 12, and 14 year. If it's in allocation, then usually this store has multiples of them. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming along as we look at yet again another liquor store. This time, Lake District Wine and Liquors in Lakeland, Tennessee. Lots of lakes there. They have tons of great store picks, bottles that you can't find in any store in the area. The manager was generous enough to let me try the Old Dominick straight wheat whiskey, that 129 proof. That one might be the best one yet. So if you need to get your hands on it, $59.99, 129 proof, absolutely stellar pour. Now, you know I like to buy a bottle as a way of saying thank you to the stores for letting me film. And I've ran out of this, needed a refill, so I got none other than my Penelope Black Walnut Pre-Made Old Fashioned, one of my all-time favorites. So As always, thank you for sticking until the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.